When I say the word dinosaur, your brain immediately goes to the exact same place.
You picture apex predators, unstoppable, building-sized killing machines at the absolute top of the food chain. You picture creatures that feared absolutely nothing.
But paleontology has a dark, deeply buried secret. For the first 30 million years of their existence, dinosaurs were not the kings of the earth. They were the victims. 230 million years ago, the ancestors of the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex were no bigger than a golden retriever. They were fragile, nervous, and spent every waking moment of their lives running in pure, unadulterated terror.
Because in the Triassic period, the dinosaurs shared the world with something much, much worse.
Meet the true king of the prehistoric world, a terrestrial, sprinting, armored super predator that treated early dinosaurs like bite-sized snacks.
Forget the T-Rex. Tonight, we are opening the case file on the monster that forced dinosaurs to live in the shadows.
To understand the sheer horror of this ecosystem, we have to travel back 235 million years to the late Triassic period.
The Earth looked completely alien. All of the continents were smashed together into a single massive landmass called Pangaea, because the center of this supercontinent was thousands of miles away from any ocean. It was a hyper-arid, scorching hellscape. It was a world of vast red deserts, extreme droughts, and brutal competition.
And in this unforgiving world, we find the very first dinosaurs.
Take Eoraptor, for example. It is one of the earliest known dinosaurs in the fossil record.
If you were to see an Eoraptor today, you wouldn't run away. You'd probably try to pet it. It weighed about 20 pounds. It had hollow bones that made it incredibly fragile. Its jaw was weak, and it spent its days nervously snapping up large insects or scavenging scraps of meat left behind by bigger animals. It was essentially a prehistoric chicken.
These early dinosaurs were fast, but they had to be. They possessed no armor, no horns, no clubbed tails, and no bone-crushing bite forces. They were at the very bottom of a terrifying food chain.
So, if dinosaurs were the prey, who was doing the hunting? Hollywood wants you to believe that dinosaurs ruled the earth from the moment they stepped onto it. But the evolutionary truth is that the Triassic period belonged to a completely different family of reptiles. They were called the pseudosuchians, the false crocodiles. When you hear the word crocodile, you probably picture a lazy, swamp-dwelling reptile dragging its belly through the mud, waiting for a wildebeest to wander too close to the water. Erase that image from your mind immediately.
The pseudosuchians of the Triassic did not sprawl on the ground. They evolved an anatomical feature called a pillar-erect stance. Their massive, muscular legs were tucked directly underneath their bodies, just like a modern mammalian predator, like a wolf or a lion.
This meant they didn't have to drag their bodies. They could walk. They could track. And most terrifyingly of all, they could sprint. At the absolute pinnacle of this nightmare family tree was a creature called Fasolasuchus.
Discovered in the fossil beds of modern-day Argentina, Fasolasuchus was an absolute unit of prehistoric destruction. It measured up to 33 feet long. It weighed roughly 3 tons. That is the size of a modern delivery truck, but armored with thick, bony plates called osteoderms that acted like Kevlar against any counterattacks.
But the real horror show was its skull. A T-Rex is famous for having thick, banana-shaped teeth designed to crush bone. Fasolasuchus had a completely different biological philosophy. Its teeth were recurved, curving backward into its throat and lined with microscopic serrations exactly like a modern steak knife. This wasn't a bone crusher, this was a flesh tearer.
If Fasolasuchus bit into an early dinosaur, it didn't need to swallow it whole. It would simply clamp its massive jaws down, violently twist its neck, and rip a massive chunk of flesh right off the victim's body, leaving the animal to bleed out in the dust.
For over 30 million years, this was the daily reality for the ancestors of the dinosaurs. They were trapped in an evolutionary arms race. They simply could not win.
Paleontologists often find the delicate, shattered bones of early Triassic dinosaurs in the same geological layers as the massive shed teeth of these giant land crocodiles. The forensic evidence paints a clear, violent picture of who was in charge.
But this intense predatory pressure did something incredible. It forced the dinosaurs to adapt.
Because they couldn't fight back, the dinosaurs had to become the fastest things on two legs. They evolved lighter skeletons, longer strides, and higher metabolisms. They survived by being paranoid, agile, and incredibly smart.
In a weird twist of fate, the giant land crocodiles were actually the personal trainers for the dinosaur empire. They forced the dinosaurs to evolve the exact traits that would eventually make them unstoppable.
But as long as Fasolasuchus and its cousins walked the earth, the dinosaurs were doomed to remain in the shadows. The giant crocodiles were too big, too heavily armored, and too perfectly adapted to the hot, dry world of Pangaea.
The dinosaurs needed the crocodiles to disappear. And 201 million years ago, the dinosaurs got exactly what they needed.
The Earth experienced a catastrophic mass extinction event at the end of the Triassic period. Massive volcanic eruptions tore the supercontinent of Pangaea apart. The atmosphere filled with toxic greenhouse gases. The climate shifted violently.
The giant, heavy, highly specialized land crocodiles couldn't adapt to the sudden environmental collapse. They starved, collapsed, and went entirely extinct.
But those paranoid, fast-moving, highly adaptable little dinosaurs, they survived the apocalypse.
When the dust finally settled, the monsters that had terrorized them for 30 million years were gone. The throne was empty. The dinosaurs stepped over the bones of their former tormentors, multiplied in size, and took over the planet, kicking off a reign of terror that would last until a famous asteroid showed up. The T-Rex might be the king of the movies, but it owes its entire existence to the monsters that hunted its ancestors.
If you want to uncover more cold cases from the prehistoric world, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are digging through the fossil record to bring you the darkest, most incredible stories from Earth's history.
Drop a comment below and tell me, would you rather face a T-Rex or a sprinting, 30-foot land crocodile? I'll see you in the next one. Keep your facts straight with stick and bones.